Plaintiff Stephen Bozeman says he is 90 days clean from cocaine and alcohol. And he met the defendant in a treatment program several years ago. Stephen claims after they started dating, he felt as though the defendant was using him because they only had sex once a month. He's suing his ex for a loan, property, and emotional distress. Defendant Stephanie Smith admits that she met Stephen in a drug treatment program and says she's currently 4 years sober. Stephanie insists she never borrowed any money from the plaintiff, and she has no idea why he's suing her today.
Start with you.
I met Stephanie Smith. First of all, sir, I wanted to say that as of today, I'm 90 days clean from cocaine, alcohol, and drugs. I'm in a treatment program. I'm in a treatment program that I'm doing so much.
Good.
I go 12-step meetings every day.
Excellent.
I go to groups every day. I have a sponsor, and I'm of service feeding a community of homeless people every day.
Well, you keep going to those meetings at night,
Yes.
every night,
Yes, sir.
you'll make it. That's the key.
I met Stephanie Smith in a treatment program in '04. She was cool, you know. And that's the person that I've known.
Was that your first time or something?
No,
04.
Yeah, this was
Treatment.
who we met in a program.
I know. Was that your first time?
No, it wasn't.
How many times did you go to treatment?
I've been in about 6, 7. This might be my 6th one.
And why? Were you going to your meetings every night?
Yes.
6 times, all 6 times you went to your meetings every night.
But I stopped.
Yeah, well, then you didn't.
Yeah, I stopped.
All right, and that's what I tell people all the time. You're only 90 days clean now. Don't act like I'm old. I know everybody clap for you and all that, but you've been 6 times.
Right.
To rehab.
Right.
So you're likely to relapse.
Right.
Unless you keep going to those meetings every day. Because if you stop as you did before, you're going to go right back on. You're going to be 7th or 8th.
Right.
You got me? And that's why I tell people all the time, first thing out of my mouth is when people say, I've been to rehab, I'm in treatment, I say, you go to your meetings every night? And so if you tell me that, I'm with you. If you say, well, a little bit every now and then, you'll be back in rehab. But just go there, and hopefully on the way through, you won't ride through one of those neighborhoods where you see them smoking crack outside, or you see them selling crack, and instead of going to your meeting, you go over there. Because I know that's what happens, and that's how people get messed up. You can be on your way to a meeting, or you can be in a meeting. And one of them say, you want to go outside and smoke a square? Because I know that's everybody drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes, right? That's what they do at the NA meetings. Everybody stand outside and smoke and drink the coffee. And all you need is one of those folks, and they're just there to be there. Well, they're there to fulfill some type of order from the judge. I have to bring back something to saying that I went there. Okay, I'm going to do this, but you're trying to do the right thing. You're there out the goodness of your heart, really committed. And then they say, hey, man, I got a bump. Am I right or wrong?
Yep.
That's how it goes.
It's that easy.
I got a bump. Y'all at the rehab. You're at the NA.
You know, maybe my higher power was a lower power because I wouldn't have used it if I had a higher power.
There you go. All right, well, stick to that. Stick to that. No, we're not here about that, but this is one of the biggest tragedies in America is narcotics addiction. And it destroys families, it's destroying communities. In fact, crack destroyed a generation. And so that's why I spend so much time on this. Has nothing really to do with the case. So what else you want me to know?
So anyway, me and the defendant, Stephanie Smith, we was friends in '04. We re-hooked up. I seen her at a function in like 2011, somewhere around there. We started, got her number. I started taking her out. We started dating.
Okay, let me get to her and let her talk. Ma'am?
Good morning, Your Honor. And I just want to say, first and foremost, it's a pleasure to meet you and to be in front of the famous Greg Mathis. Anyway, I met...
I don't know about famous, might be infamous. Yeah.
I originally met Mr. Bozeman in a program. We were both in a drug rehab program. We completed, I don't know if he completed, but I completed. But since then, I did relapse then. But my clean date to date is 8/25/2010. And I'm proud to have 4 years clean.
Good.
I've been active. I'm of service in my recovery.
Good.
I go to my meetings every single, maybe 3 times a week, not every single day,
Yeah,
but 3
that's all
times a
right.
week.
4 years
I'm
later.
being of service. So, yes, we did reconnect in 2010. It's this event called the Out Olympics. They have all the different programs get together and compete, you know, for the Olympics, like we're in the Olympics. So that's when we reconnected. We exchanged numbers. He did started taking me out. He started buying me things. Of course, what girl wouldn't want that, you know?
I love you.
That's enough, sir.
So, and I completed the program in 2010, my last program, I can honestly say. And from there, I moved into a sober living, which was a back house was for the women and the front house was for the men. He stayed in the front house. So, what had happened is that the roommates that I had were relapsing. They weren't on the same page. And the last roommate that I did have almost burnt down this lady's house. I originally met Mr. Bozeman in a program. We were both in a drug rehab program. We completed, I don't know if he completed, but I completed. But he did started taking me out. He started buying me things. Of course, what girl wouldn't want that, you know?
I love you.
That's enough, sir.
Defendant Stephanie Smith is being sued by her ex-boyfriend, who claims he felt as though Stephanie was using him because she always asked him for money, yet they only had sex once a month.
What else you want me to know?
So anyway, I moved from a treatment program to a sober living. I accumulated 17 months clean before the last relapse before I'm here now with the 90 days. But so
I'm only laughing because we had sober living units above my center, and one of the persons very close to me that I put, one of my relatives that I put up in the sober living because they had been to rehab 6 times. And wasn't even going downstairs to the meetings. In fact, the 8 people I had in there, this person, this relative that I had up there, they brought a crack. They moved a crack man into the unit and turned the whole joint out. So that's why I did a little, nothing against you. I was just thinking sober living. I'm just thinking about my experiences with crack addicts. I'm sorry, but my experience is also educational. All right, so you were in the sober living.
yes.
What
Oh,
happened?
by the way, this the
90 day?
I'm in.
Let's see it.
that I'm in for.
Once again, congratulations. You were in sober living, and what
Okay,
happened?
so I started dating Stephanie Smith, and it was cool at first. Then she moved to the sober living where I was at, because in the back it was, which her friend got her in there, I guess. The women's was back and the men's was front, and that's when I got to know the real Stephanie Smith. Stephanie Smith didn't do nothing but I loved her. I had loved her. And being in this part of the program taught me to be responsible as a man for myself
So what happened?
and your mate.
You all started dating,
And
and
so
what?
we started dating. I'm started doing everything for this woman. I'm paying half her rent. She didn't have a solid income coming in. I'm paying half her rent. I'm putting money in her pocket once every 2 weeks, at least $100. I helped her get a car, but I ain't getting no intimacy in return. I ain't getting no sex but once a month. You know, and this for the whole 6 months we in the.
You felt she was using you?
Huh? Yeah, she was
Okay, how
definitely
long were you
using
all
me and
together?
mistreating me. Huh?
How long were you together?
Oh, close to almost 2 years.
All right, but you knew she was using you all the time, and you continued
But
to let her use
I had
you?
loved her. I had loved her.
I got you. All
And,
right.
and so I transitioned from the sober living to my own 2-bedroom apartment. She gets put out. She got put out the sober living because the lady said she didn't pay her rent, which I think that.
So she moved in with you?
And I'm giving her at least $200.
She moved in with you?
So she moved
How
in
did
with
that go?
me. Huh?
How did it go?
It got worser.
How?
It got worser. We sleeping in the same bed. I'm still only getting sex probably once a month, or if I give her some money, I get some sex or some intimacy. The only time when she's showing friendship or intimacy is when we going over my family's house or her family's house. But other than that, so I'm thinking that it's a one-sided relationship.
How did you all break up and when?
I started using after 17 months behind these feelings I'm going through. You know, I ain't saying I'm used because of her.
Year and a half
because
clean.
I'm not saying I used because
Were you
of
going
her.
to meetings every day still?
I stopped.
Nope, that's what happened then.
I'm saying,
all right, after a year and a half, you stopped. That was too early.
Yeah,
One of my
stopped.
great buddies, one of my very best friends, he was on crack for several years. He stopped. He went to meetings every single day for about 15 years. And by the end of that 15 years, he stopped afterwards, but he was a high-ranking government official. I had hooked him up with a job. And so, getting to that, meetings every day. Yes. So you stopped going to your meetings, you got addicted, yes. She was addicted,
so
and
we're
then
living
what?
together, and it ended by me going, she in my apartment, and I told her she had to leave.
All right, ma'am, what did he say to these things? You moved in with him?
He said, Stephanie, you can come over here and move with me. You don't have to pay no rent.
He said that. How did it go?
It didn't go well because, first of all, he relapsed again.
Okay, how soon after moving in?
Maybe, okay, I moved into his apartment in May 2012, and he relapsed, I believe, in September of 2012.
All right, and when did you move out?
I moved out the next following month, October 4th.
Sir, let me hear from you on the why are you suing her for this loan, this property?
I came up on a settlement, and so I loaned her $1,000.
When?
2013.
When was she to repay the $1,000?
She said when she got her income tax.
All right. And that was to have been in...
I was using...
When was it to be, sir? We got all that. You use, you love, you love. Now I need the facts.
In 2013, sir.
All right, and she didn't pay that.
Yes.
All right, and
she promised to pay me.
Got it, I got it, sir. Now, let's get to the property.
I had caught a DUI in April 2013. I caught a DUI. I wrecked my car. I was on probation at the time, and I went to jail. My PO put a 3-week hold on me. The only one I could rely on was her. I called her. She still had keys to my apartment.
And then what happened?
So I called her, the only one I could reach. I said, Stephanie, go check on the apartment, see if everything's okay.
And what happened?
Because I'm in a bad area.
And then what happened?
So she goes to the apartment. She comes back and visits me in jail and said they robbed you. You've been robbed of all your appliances except for your stereo system. But I took that over my mom's house.
Okay, and you haven't gotten it?
And I haven't gotten it back yet.
Let me see it. And the emotional distress is for what, sir?
Man, she's been using me from day one, just
sir.
taking, she's taking and not giving back.
That's not actionable sir, that's enough. You can't sue a girlfriend or an ex-girlfriend because they use you. Men and women who are in relationships either use each other, they argue, they fall out.
I'm paying half her rent. I'm putting money in her pocket every 2 weeks, at least $100. I helped her get a car, but I ain't getting no intimacy in return. I ain't getting no sex but once a month.
But you knew she was using you all the time, and you continued to let her use you?
I had loved her.
I got you.
Defendant Stephanie Smith is being sued by her ex-boyfriend, who claims he felt as though Stephanie was using him because she always asked him for money, yet they only had sex once a month.
Let me hear from you, ma'am. He says that
Your
1,
Honor.
he loaned you $1,000, you haven't repaid. 2, he had you oversee his property. It was robbed, and then the stereo was left, he said, and you said you'd taken it with you to protect that, and now you won't give it back.
Okay, Your Honor, none of that is true. He never loaned me any type of money. He gave me money, and it was well over $1,000.
We know that. We know that he gave you a lot of money.
So he never
by your own admission.
He never loaned me anything.
And I'm inclined to believe that. Let's get to the property.
The property, I don't know what property he's talking about because when I got to the house, everything was gone. TV, the stereo, he had a new computer, still in the box. He had 2 TVs, he had a 51-inch and a 37-inch.
And they took all
They
of
took
that?
everything. Everything was completely
So you had all
gone.
these things in there?
Yes, and she...
Hold on, that's all I want to know. You
Yes,
had
sir.
all these
Yes, sir.
televisions, all these things.
A new
Man, these are the
computer.
nicest burglars I've ever heard of, sir.
That's-
If I'm going to get burglarized, those are the ones I want because they leave stereos.
But this was she
So
told
I've
me,
never
Your
heard of a
Honor.
person that leaves a stereo, and you say they left it. You say
She told me
she's
that.
saying they didn't today, sir. Did you tell him that?
No, I never told
All
him
right,
that.
sir, I'm going to dismiss your claim. I don't believe
Can I give
it.
a text message?
They're saying she has it?
No, that's saying that she said that You can sue me if you want. You're going to lose.
Right,
I
so
said,
what?
all I-
That's exactly.
I said,
She's exactly right.
I said,
Your
all I-
claim is dismissed. She's exactly right.
Man, Stephanie, all I've been was a friend to you.
And all I've been was a friend.
No, you don't even answer my phone calls to get my.
I was there to help you.
Yeah, but your
Who
motives
you?
wasn't. But your motives wasn't right. You was
Okay,
there
I'm
to
done.
get what you could get.
done.
You ain't nothing, man.
done.
And God is going. I hope
Okay,
God
God
can
is
get your
gonna punish
spirit
me.
for
God is
one
gonna-
day for you to say the right
Okay.
thing. You got my
But I'm not
my
the
stereo
part of
because you
relapsers.
told me. It
Why
don't
would I
matter. You
have a
told
$10,000
me.
stereo?
You told me, Stephanie, and you told me you was gonna give it back.